In Bangladesh, people every year when they celebrate the Independence Day or the Victory Day, on media in Bangladesh, people watch pictures, exactly the pictures that you are describing here, the crushed skull of children and women, dead bodies of women, and when you describe these things and when you say, have you ever seen a proud man to cry like a baby? All these pictures are haunting pictures. Now, when people in Bangladesh watch these images, I think many Bangladeshis wonder whether Pakistan, people of Pakistan, whether they have seen these images at all.
It's a very good question, because when my wife and I went back to West Pakistan in '71 and we talked about our experience in Bengal and how much we loved the Bengali people, they were calling us bingo lovers. They used the word bingo out of a kind of derogatory term. So my sense was they knew very little, and they did not fully realize the importance of that province and that people. They had no idea about the history of that place. Remember, in any case, we are talking of the 60s and 70s, when communications were very different. There's no email, there's no internet, there are no telephones even. So you're really cut off. These two different wings are very much cut off. And today, I would urge both Bangladesh and Pakistan to begin to understand each other. These are two brothers. They've been through a very traumatic phase. I was privileged to have experienced it from the other side. And I would urge both to get to know each other better, to bridge the terrible divide that has divided them for so long, and all the anger and all the anxiety and the aggravation has to be set aside, and we have to look ahead and try to build bridges of peace and harmony, because the world we are living in is moving very fast. And I think that there's so much in common. There's so much love. When I meet Bengalis, the way they respond to me, it's really, love is the word I'd use. I've never felt that they're saying, oh, this was a Pakistani and we are now Bangladesh. It's always been very, very warm. There's so much in common, the food, the culture, the memories. I really am amazed how the Bengali people, in spite of what they went through, and I've described this in my poem, still have this big heart and are prepared to embrace Pakistan. Similarly with Pakistan, I think they have to be aware of what the Bengalis experienced and the suffering they went through. And if the Bengalis would feel better, more relieved if the Pakistanis came and embraced them and said, brother, what happened, we are ashamed of it, we are sorry for it, they should do it, because it's the time to move ahead now. It's the time to acknowledge the pain that we caused each other. That's how in South Africa, mature leadership like Mandela and so on formed the Truth and Reconciliation Commission, where people could overcome the miseries and the violence of apartheid and move ahead. And I think it's time that, and I would say, Hassan, for all of South Asia, for India, Pakistan, Afghanistan, Bangladesh, really this is a remarkable region of the world. It's very rich in history. It's produced extraordinary figures of history. It's produced many religions. It's time for them to start coming together, to understand each other, love one another, and move together forward, rather than this constant tension leading to war, and now we are nuclear, and where is that going to end up? So really it's a time for us to step back and reflect. And again, at my age, I can step back now and look back on the past and say, this was wrong, this was right. And if I had to do anything, and if I had any position, remember, I'm not representing government or any organization. I'm just an ordinary professor now on campus. If I could do anything, I'd do it in order to bring these people closer together.
You mentioned the reconciliation process, the importance of the process, and also you mentioned that there should be an apology from Pakistan because of what happened in 1971, which never happened. The official apology Bangladesh never received. Now, every day in Bangladesh, we are losing important historians who saw 1971 because of the time difference now. Within maybe a couple of decades, most people who saw 1971 will be gone, and the new generation is coming up. So in Pakistan, how is the history books, how are they written? What do they mention about?
No, unfortunately in Pakistan, there's little attention given to what was East Pakistan and now Bangladesh. I am very proud of the way Bangladesh has developed compared to Pakistan. In the last few decades, you see the progress in the GDP, the exports, the income per capita. In all these figures, Bangladesh has surged ahead. I think we may have some elements that are common, like corruption, for example, but those can be tackled once your country and your administration is more stable. The point is that these countries have to begin to love each other and reconcile, and you can only reconcile if you say, if I have hurt you and if I have hurt you, I'm sorry for that, we have to look ahead. And if that doesn't happen, I'm not speaking officially because I have no official position. I don't know what the position is of the government of Pakistan, but I would urge Pakistan to reach out, and similarly for Bengal to say that they were also your people. You see, I'm mentioning 3 of my batchmates. Someone killed them. They died in the field in their post. They were assistant commissioners there to serve people as civil servants. We have to reach out and try to make amends for our own behavior, because to me, as SDM Maniganj, SDM Kishorganj, if one person died from my district, my subdivision, it would have affected me. And the idea that thousands may have been killed, thousands raped, haunts me, because that ultimately reflects on me. And thank God, when it all began, I wasn't there. I was then posted to Dhaka, and I was seeing this whole unfolding, the unraveling, I would say, of what was Pakistan from Dhaka, from that vantage point. And even as a young officer, I could see that this is not good and it's not going to end well. And I would pray that East Pakistan, Bangladesh, West Pakistanis, Pakistan now begin to move together and make friends.
In 1970, you were stationed in Kishoreganj, but then you were moved to Dhaka.
To Maniganj, then to Dhaka.
Right. The interesting thing is, even though you're saying that as the SDM of Kishoreganj, you felt responsible for every casualty, but I think also it's the humanity in you which forced you to talk about this.
Look, I have been political agent in Waziristan. I have been commissioner in Balochistan. Now those places also are very difficult for outsiders. You should know that. There's a lot of tension between outsiders, locals, etc. I never had a problem, because in administration I learnt one important principle. If you're fair, if you're neutral between warring parties, if you're honest, you have integrity, you have no problem. So I never had a problem. And in Kishoreganj in 1970 when I arrived, we already had problems. If you remember, there was a lot of cheating going on then in the schools, and Bhoirab was a center for examinations. And this had begun. There was cheating, there was disruption of law and order. I would go there, I would talk to the teacher. I was all alone. Remember, one West Pakistani in the middle of millions and millions of Bengalis. But I never had a problem. My guard was all Bengali, my cooks, my servants, my bodyguard, everything was Bengali. And I never had a problem, because they knew that he's here doing his best under these difficult circumstances. There was nothing in it for me personally. If I could help them, I did. I tried my best to help them. But if the nation of Pakistan, the nation of Bangladesh are aware that without this humanity, without looking at each other in terms of humanity, in terms of the humanness of the other, nothing can change. And if it doesn't change, we are gridlocked. See, the same situation is between India and Pakistan, with the result that we almost went into a nuclear exchange a few months ago. It's precisely because we don't see each other as fellow human beings. We see each other as aliens. Therefore, they don't matter. And for me, this is a tragedy, because Bengal and Pakistan were like brothers, like twin brothers. They've broken up. We wish them well, and we wish both of them succeed and both of them flourish and survive and thrive. So in order for that to happen, we have to move ahead and put our hands out. And I think the time is ripe, because Imran Khan has shown with India, he's reached out several times. He said, I'm happy to reach out my hand of friendship. I hope that can happen between Pakistan and Bangladesh.